We're back again with the Hampton Bay St. ceiling fan. I'm going to replace the bearings today. The new bearings have come in. These are the new bearings. I bought a bunch of them because it's a pretty common size, so I'll use them eventually. Let's open this up and see what we have inside. Okay, so hopefully these are the same size. They should be. Awful lot of packaging material here. Looks like it. Same size. See, that's not working too good anymore. And this is very quiet. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I'll do this before I put the bearing on. I'm going to feed this wire back down through the shaft. I've done this after I put the bearing on, and it's a lot more difficult because you lose the access. So I'm just going to twist all three of these or four of these together and then stick them through. That is the easiest way to do it. And you got to be careful that you don't cause an abrasion on the side of the wire, because the side of the opening on the shaft here is pretty sharp. Now ideally this cloth thing will go through there with the wires. Hopefully once we get it started it'll go a little bit easier. It's not quite, I'd like it to be down at the bottom to protect the wires from the shaft down there. There we go. Like that, it's pretty good. Just enough to protect it on both sides. Okay. So now I'll put the bearing on. I like to put it with the number out so that you can read it when it comes time to change it again. Slip it on, and then once it starts to get hard, you're going to have to tap it on. Now what I do is I take a wrench. You could use a socket if you had a nice deep one, like a deep impact socket or something. But I take a wrench. This one is this is a 14 happens to be the right size. And what you want is for the wrench to cover only the surface area of the bearing that's touching the shaft. So this part right here, where the writing is, that's what you want the wrench to sit on. And that is the only surface of the bearing that you can put pressure on as you're reinstalling the bearing. If you just whack it with something and you hit the sides or anything like that, you'll wreck the bearing. So you got to put the wrench on there and keep it level so it goes on even. And then I take another socket. This one's a bit big, but this is the one that I have on hand, and then I'll use an impact socket to put the pressure onto my wrench, and then we'll just tap it down into place. I'll lower this down a bit so you can see it from the side. I'm going to make sure that the socket is only on the wrench. It's not going to hit the bearing at all. Okay, so we'll start tapping this down now. We got to go. Yeah, we got a ways to go still. Sometimes it takes a bit of effort to get it down. and you'll feel it stop, and then it's all the way down, almost. Oh, my wrench got stuck. Not good. Never had that happen before. So my wrench is a bit too small. In fact, I got to get one that's a little bigger, because what's happening is the wrench is not as thick as that opening on the shaft is. It's not going to work. Oh, we're in a bit of a predicament now, because it's still got about another 1/8 of an inch to go. Okay, I gotta find a different tool to use, a bigger wrench. Let's see what we have here. This is one of the reasons why I believe you can never have too many tools, because even if you use them on like 1 or 2 projects every 5 years, they're still worth having. Look at this. There we go. This may be too big though. This is let's see. Yeah, that's too big. The problem is a lot of my wrenches are, they're like this. They're not the 16.1s, whatever that is. It's not 16 point, is it? 2, 4, 6, yeah, I think it is. Oh. This is another 9/16. This doesn't even belong in there. This belongs in there though. What's this one? That's smaller. Well, okay. So we have a dilemma now. I need to find something that we can use. And I have to get this to close again. Okay. There's one other toolbox we can peep in and see if that has the right thing. Otherwise, I don't have it here. It's going to be at the other location. Let's see here. This is a 3/4. That's probably too big. Yeah, that's too big. It's too big. This is the right size, but the inside's too small. Got some bigger sockets over here. This one almost works, but it's a hair too big. cheese. We could possibly make this work if we have to. It's not going to be ideal, but a lot of times things aren't. Alright, we're out of luck on this one. I don't have what I'm looking for. So we'll go with this. Actually, you know what? If we're going to do it that way, there's not a whole lot of advantage to using this, but we'll use it anyways. Okay. Wish I had a bunch of washers that were the right size, because that would work too. But I don't. Okay, how come this doesn't fit anymore? There it goes. Okay, that was a whole lot of hassle for nothing. Sometimes it happens, and you gotta work with what you got. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is use the one that's the wrong size and just kind of carefully tap it on the side only. So I'll put this on here and I'll just tap it like that, tap it down that way, and I'll just have to kind of go around, you know, just keeping that on the inside edge there. This is going to take some time doing it this way, but there's no other option. Alright, that looks pretty even. It's quiet. Alright, so that should be good. So that's that one on. Now the process will be the same for the other side here. Yeah, I wonder if the 9/16 would have fit down there. Huh, it does. What a joke. That's how I've done it in the past. I've used the 9/16. Alright, well we'll just fly through this side then, because we can use the 9/16 all the way. Actually, you know what? This will fit better. I'll just keep using this one. Okay, that's not cooperating. Well, I guess neither one of them is cooperating. This is not supposed to be the difficult part. Okay, we got about 2/8 of an inch left. Huh, seems to have stopped. Why has it stopped? I don't recall there being any kind of problems here. It's going, it's just going real slow. There we go, I think that's just about all the way down now. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Good on that side. Good on that side. Okay. So now we can begin reassembling. Alright, so we know we got the motor housing here. Let's take these screws back out. And I'm going to clean up all the oil that's in here because that shouldn't be there. Absolutely no reason for all that oil in there. Okay, so we know here that this is the top of the fan, and this is the bottom. We have the blade screws. This is the top, this is the bottom. So we'll slip this down into here like this, and it should kind of go into place without too much difficulty. And you have to slightly tap it down. Huh. It's not interested in going on. Well, we'll use the screws to tighten it, that's fine. So put the bottom on, make sure these holes align with the screw studs. See, that's set into place correctly. I don't know why this isn't. There it goes. Okay, so now it's in place correctly. Now we'll replace these screws. Or we'll just throw them on the table. Now it feels like it's going in pretty stiff, almost as if the bearings are not fully seated into the housing yet. So let's see, if that's the case, we'll have a poor spin down, which we kind of have. I can feel it grabbing a bit. So seems like it's not down all the way. It's not terrible. It's running freely now. I think that's probably satisfactory. But I haven't even tightened the bottom ones yet. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I could feel it close a little bit more just then. Okay, now it's shut all the way, and now that's not okay. It's grabbing too much. I'm wondering if I think I see the problems, or the singular problem anyways. This one here, geez, did I really do that? I must have bent the housing when I was opening it up. And now the issue is that if you look right there, see, it's not going to close correctly, so I got to pull this off again. I'm going to have to try to correct that, because it shouldn't be bent like that. That's why it's not closing right. It's because of this top shell here, or the bottom shell. Okay, so this is the culprit here, though. It's two marks are probably the issue. So, not good. I can't believe I let that happen. Just gonna pull these back out. And that should solve the problem. Alright, that looks fine. Okay, take two. There we go. That time it snapped into place real good. And we're already, looks like we're almost flush up against the screws already. So, I'm a little bit more confident in it being like that. It is spinning much freer. So that's good. So we'll screw it together and use it that way. That was the problem. It just had those little nicks in there and it wasn't sitting down far enough. Okay, now that the bearings are in, we can reassemble the fan again. Okay, so here's the switch housing. First thing I'll do is feed the common light and high wires back through. Huh, well that went surprisingly easily. Okay, so let's put the switch housing on. Make sure the screw is loose so we can thread on correctly. And these threads are not in the greatest of conditions, so this is going to take some agitation to get it on. In fact, the threads are in pretty poor condition. That's not on straight. Yeah, it's already froze up. What a nuisance. I'm gonna have to use the channel locks again. Or device things, whatever you want to call them. This is threading horrifically, and I think it's partially because of the way the screw goes in. It jacks up the threads when you tighten it. Okay, that's good enough. It's never going to come undone, but I'll put this screw up a little bit anyways. Okay. I have to play games with this mounting thing on the back too. So this also is all jacked up as far as the threads are concerned. If this really becomes an issue, I could just retap this without the threads and drill a hole through there and use a conventional pin. Hopefully I don't have to do that, because that's adding a lot more time and complication to this project than it should be necessary. Actually, it's going on pretty easily. Okay, I guess this will be just fine. It's going on much easier than the switch housing was. Okay, that wasn't bad at all. Now these I'm going to put pretty tight because this could have the possibility to undo itself. Okay, now I believe I have a new switch on hand. If not, I'm going to have to go get one, because the switch is all busted too. I don't have one. I did have one. I have the documentation for it, but I must use it on something. So, oh well, I'll just have to order one, and then this will have to extend itself for another day. For now, just for testing purposes, I'll go ahead and set it up with the old switch. It still works, it just doesn't fit in correctly because the thing is broke off. At least I don't think it'll. There's not enough threads there for it to grab on, so the switch is going to have to get replaced. Actually, you know, I probably could file that down and get it to come through enough to work. I just filed it down a bit. Let's see if that'll work. Because the switch didn't fail of natural causes, it failed from shipping damage. It fits. Let's see if it'll thread on or not. Probably will. I gotta file it some more for it to thread correctly. But I think that'll work. I'll just do that. Good enough for me. Now the switch may fail of natural causes because of that, but I don't think so. I think it'll be fine. Okay, so let's do some rewiring here. I'm just going to replace these with wire nuts. This way it's easier to service and repair it in the future anyways. Okay, so that's all the wiring back together. Why these don't all use that standard scheme is beyond me. They really, really should. I don't recall which side was reverse on the switch. Ah, jeez. Well, it seems like it's wanting to sit like that, so hopefully that's correct. This is easy enough to just swap that around if it's not. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get everything to fit in here the way it's supposed to. This one's actually not too bad. There's a decent amount of room in this switch housing. This is going to fit pretty comfortably, which is unusual. A lot of times these are packed. That'll be fine like that. I'm sure there will be commentary about the switch situation here. Well, let it fly, because I'm not buying parts I don't need. I'm not a parts thrower. If I can fix something to make it work, I'll do so. Okay, so that's the switch housing back together. Of course, these capacitors are no longer glued in, but who cares? I think this bolt, it was supposed to go up here or up there. It's just to stop it from screwing further than it should. I stopped it manually, so it's fine. I'm sure there'll be commentary about that too, but whatever. Always commentary about something. You can't please nobody anymore. And what's even worse is that the commentary will probably come from someone that doesn't even know how to change the bearings in anything. As soon as I get the rear motor or the top motor housing on, I'll wire it in and give it a test just to make sure everything's working. plug sooner here. I'll get my plug. Okay, let's hook this up and just check to make sure that everything is working correctly. I'm not going to worry about connecting the blue because we don't have a light here, so it's not doing anything anyways. Okay. Let's go ahead and plug this up here. Okay. Looks like the switch is correct. I'll plug into the kilowatt meter just to make sure the speeds are correct. It'll be kind of hard to tell without any load on the motor. Jeez, it's got a lot of torque to it. We may have an issue here. This 48. That does not sound right at all. It was drawing 72 on that medium speed and 25 on low, so I think we may have a situation here where a couple windings are getting connected at once, and that should not be happening. So let's see, maybe the switch really is damaged. Easy enough to check. We'll get a multimeter out and just verify that each speed is only activating one winding. Never a dull moment. Always something breaking. So go to continuity mode. Put one probe in with the line. Should be nothing in the off position. Well, actually, I don't know what position that's in. I need to know I need to set this stuff off. Okay, that's on. That's on. And and that's off. Okay. High, medium, low, off. Okay, so we should have nothing. We know off is working correctly. We did get nothing before. Okay, so that should be high, which is number 1. This is number 1 here. Okay, we got connectivity there. Nothing on 2 and nothing on 3. So this is position 2. We're good there. Two and 3 is active at that point. So that's capacitor, capacitor. So that's combining 5 and 6 to give us 10 for that speed. And then this is position 3, which is 5. High is 6. I guess that's correct. Oh, something seems a little flaky. Okay, we're going to check it under load because that's really the only way to get an accurate measurement here. So on high, oh, this is not going. It's going to keep flying around. So that was high, that was 0.7. Let's see what medium gives us. 0.5 and low is 0.2. 0.7, 0.5, 0.2. Okay, that's totally normal. I don't know why it seemed like medium was a little bit out of whack, but that's operating exactly the way that it should. I've heard that spark just, and that's why I always do that afterwards to discharge the capacitor, because some of these, they get you, they're pretty strong. Alright, so this is operating correctly, so we'll go ahead and finish reassembly because there's nothing wrong with it. So this is going to be a little bit confusing because half of the screws on here are fake. 3 of them is fake. Oh, the pattern's not even... Okay, so it goes like this. It'll be easy. Well, that's going to be a little bit tricky trying to get that through. Yeah, it didn't go through. There it goes. And this will be a good stopping point. I'll cut the video here because it's getting kind of long. And do a third part. So putting the light back on and figure out the mounting system. It's not threaded at the top, so I think I can take any old down rod and just stick it in there and it'll work fine. I have a brass 1-inch rod. I don't mind cutting down a little bit. I think it's like probably a 10-inch rod. It's already been cut once. I don't mind cutting it in half, make it a 5 or a 6, and then use it with this. Because it came flush mounted, and I don't mess with that. I don't do flush mount. Unless it's like a Hugger cellophane, I don't do flush mount. get a lot of noise and performance goes down and everything. Plus I kind of like the fans to hang a little bit low. This is a really nice piece, so I don't want it hiding up at the top of the ceiling. Let it hang down a little bit. Okay, new bearings are in, switch is fixed. Still got some noise to it, but that should go away. I'm hoping that the bearing didn't get screwed up from all that removal and stuff I had to do. Yeah, that should go away, I think, that noise. Alright, well that's it. The bearings are in, everything's working good. So next video we'll get the mounting situation taken care of.